Now, the latest polls show Hillary Rodham Clinton is losing ground to Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. The latest New Hampshire poll has Sanders ahead with 44%, Clinton with 37 percentage points, and a man who's not even in the race, Vice President Joe Biden, with 9 percentage points. As for the latest Republican national polls, Donald Trump remains firmly on top. These are just the top 8 polling Republicans in the latest Fox News poll. Now, coming way down there with 6% of the vote, the man who used to be the clear frontrunner, Governor Scott Walker of Wisconsin, who will be campaigning in Minnesota on Tuesday. Joining us to talk about this continuing volatility in the presidential race, Professor David Schultz of Hamline University, who's also writing a book about swing states in presidential politics. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, what is going on with Donald Trump and Scott Walker, who is coming to Minnesota on Tuesday to basically call for the repeal of Obamacare and put his proposal that would take its place?
Well, as you pointed out there, they basically have sort of flipped. And I think they're flipping for a couple of reasons, mostly because I think Trump has done actually probably the most lethal attack upon Walker. Recall a couple of weeks ago, Donald Trump said something to the effect of that Wisconsin is a basket case. It has a lot of problems. And I think he has stolen a lot of Walker's thunder. Walker's firewall was always Iowa. He was leading in Iowa. He's behind there, down what, like maybe 6 or 7% or 8% at this point. So Trump is what's done it to Walker, and Trump has really, as we've seen in the polls here, has emerged as the clear front runner for the Republicans.
All right, we actually have the poll. Let's take a look again at that Republican poll, and we have to do it in 3 different pages because there are so many candidates, and I think we didn't even get Bobby Jindal in. This is the national poll that we're looking at from Fox News. It mirrors the polls in all of these key states like Iowa and New Hampshire. A lot of pundits, especially Republican pundits, said Donald Trump is going to collapse. He cannot survive this battle with Megyn Kelly at Fox News. Your thoughts?
He actually not only survived, but he won the battle at the end of the day. While Fox may have won the ratings battle, the fact of the matter is Trump survived it, and he doesn't seem to be hurt at all by it in any way, shape, or form. It's almost as if he's being evaluated not as a traditional politician. Traditional politician, that kind of warfare against, with the comments about women, would have doomed them. Trump seems to thrive just on name recognition and thrive tremendously on just, again, on branding himself. So he's emerged after that debate and the post-debate stronger than ever.
All right, and quickly, you've been saying this for weeks now. A lot of national pundits are saying it. He's reminding people of Jesse Ventura.
He is. He's a parallel in the sense that Jesse Ventura was a non-traditional candidate, also evaluated not in the same way as a regular candidate, which meant he could say things that regular candidates couldn't say, but also in the sense that both Trump and Ventura understood how to use the media in very creative ways to really sort of brand themselves and get their name out. That was Ventura's success. Trump's doing the same thing, and that's what he's showing to these other politicians, Republicans, that he can master the media in ways that they don't know how.
All right, this latest poll from the Boston Herald, Bernie Sanders on top in New Hampshire. It's one poll. Is she in trouble?
She's facing problems in several areas now. This poll, again, it's only one poll at this point, but it is clearly suggesting that she does not have the lock in the same way that she didn't have the lock 8 years ago. She has to start to worry about the fact that Sanders is gaining ground, that there's serious talk about Biden entering the race, and the only reason why there's a serious talk of Biden entering the race is because she looks vulnerable. Remember, at the end of the day, it's 50 separate races, not one national poll, but in one state, which is very early on, it's critical. And recall, for people who know history, it was 1968 when Eugene McCarthy from this state significantly damaged Lyndon Johnson, in the New Hampshire primary. Johnson said he wasn't going to run. And so one state can make a difference.
All right, and Joe Biden, we only have a few seconds, how much time does he have to make up his mind?
By Labor Day.
That's not very much time.
That's it. He's got 2 weeks at most to make a decision.
Right, because of all the fundraising.
All the fundraising and having to enter into the primaries and caucuses.
All right, well, Professor David Schultz of Hamline University, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.